YouTube, welcome back. The off season is underway. The off season begins. We are 7 weeks post show. Today actually marks 7 weeks post show, and we are in for a leg session. I thought, what better way to start off the off season documentation, training documentation, with a big old leg session. So today is going to be the hams and glutes focus leg session. So got 2 leg sessions per week. Currently running upper lower with an arm day in there. So this is legs or lower B, which is a hams and glute session. Hinge day, so taking you through that, which will be very, very nice. So 7 weeks post show. Today we actually just got my bloods back. So pool bloods, 6 weeks post show. Everything is in a really good spot. I'll pop up the bloods now. The only thing that is off is of course the testosterone level. So as you can see, literally everything else is in range, looking good, healthy, and obviously as to be expected with just 6 weeks post show after a very, very long prep. Being in stage condition, very, very lean for a long time. You know, it was a 32-week prep. I've realised I was in condition from like 16, after 16 weeks pretty much I was pretty much in stage condition. So, you know, holding stage condition, being lean for a very long time, that is going to have an effect on my testosterone levels. So right now you can see we are kind of below the, you know, healthy range, being 6.34 nanomoles per deciliter. So on the lower side now, you can see the kind of free testosterone is at the lower range as well. Obviously isn't ideal, but it is what it is. I'll pull bloods again in 12 to 16 weeks from now. So that'll be, you know, coming up to a 20 weeks post show, and by then I would expect my testosterone to be much higher and a much better, healthier range. But apart from that, like, we are fucking healthy, we are recovering really, really well, and you know, this is this sort of true start of the off season. You know, we're kind of reversing out this post show slash reversal period, and it has been nailed to a fucking T. We are sitting at the exact same body weight that was last YouTube video actually. Still sitting around that kind of 67 kg range, and on show day morning, last show day, we were 64.5 kilos. So, you know, I'm only sitting 2.5 kilos up in the space of 7 weeks. So that in itself just shows how kind of nailed this reverse has been. And, you know, I'm going to now reap the rewards of controlling the post-show period, not overindulging, following the plan, being in a slow, controlled rate of gain. We put on the necessary body fat that we needed to put on to get to a healthier range, and that's exactly where we are now. Now the off season truly starts. We're in a great position. Food's sitting at, you know, like 3,000 calories on train. We've got a lot of runway to add in food there, and we're in a great fucking spot. I'm feeling better by the week. Like, as the weeks go on, training's really starting to progress now, and that's why I'm excited to kind of get this leg session filmed as well. Obviously talk you through a bit of that, and then go over where trains are right now, just walk you through the session as a whole. Going over the leg session, I'm sure you will take a lot from it as well. So as you can see, it is very, very cold in Scotland. We've got a little bit of an illness at the minute, so nothing stupid, nothing crazy today. It is going to be a sort of full volume, full intensity session, but just not taking any stupid silly reps, and I'll be sound. You know, the winter flu caught up to me a little bit. I've been avoiding it. You know, I've been obviously supplementing glutathione max, vitamin C, and just basic hygiene, which people overlook on how to stay ill-free during the winter months. So the winter flu has caught up to me a little bit, but we're feeling good. Basic necessities of recovery is going to really dictate, you know, how you recover post-show, and how I've been able to recover so fast now, and how I will continue to recover is, you know, making sure sleep is a massive, massive priority. I've started, you know, taking every step possible to maximise my sleep. Comes to my routine, blocking blue light, just winding down, supplementation, meals, hydration before bed, etc. All of this is nailed to a T, and that is exactly why I have been able to recover so fast. So we'll walk you through some post-workout shots, how we're looking 7 weeks post-show now. More importantly, leg day, baby. Hinge day, a big motherfucking day. So let's get it. Leg day. Starting off with the boring but important and necessary stuff, which is a little bit of stretching and mobility before we dive into the session. Literally takes 5 minutes now. Right, we're back. As I said, literally takes 5 minutes, and it is so, so important. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm very up for and just want to tack into a session, but a little 5 minutes, literally just getting the legs moving. Let's just do some kind of hip stretches, open up the hips. Can I just sit in like a deep lunge, etc. Some adductor stretching, hamstring stretching, just get things ready to go for the session. So, sorry, let me just move you because you're in the way here. Yeah, as I mentioned, everything's going really well at the minute. Training is really starting to pick up now. We're starting to progress every single session. And, you know, the mindset going into every single session now is like, you know, it's time to fucking switch on. It's time to get to work. Every session, every set is literally an opportunity to progress, and that is literally, literally what I'm telling myself before I go into every session, before I go into every set, that this is my chance to grow. Like I need to make a lot of progress, and this is the work here. In these next year and a half, 2 years of growth, the next time I step on stage, this is the work that will show. And right now, this is the bonus stuff, the stuff that's not sexy, but this is the stuff that progresses your physique forward and where the physique's about. So that's the mindset we're into now. Gonna do a bit of stretching here, but before we jump into that, I will walk you through this session before we jump into it. So I'll actually show you as well how I lay out my logbook. So you can see here, lower hamstrings. I've got the session up there. Right here, I've got the dates and then the body weight this morning. So I've not filled that in today. Yeah, today's the 10th of January, so I'll put that at the top. And then we weighed in at 67.2 kilos this morning. So I'll put that up in that top box. Now you can see on the left-hand side, I've literally just got this session laid out, the sets, the setup of the machine, etc. as well. How much set, etc. So that's how I lay out the logbook. Very, easy way to lay it out instead of going in, writing the whole session out for the session, etc. It saves more paper as well, and it's just a little bit easier to kind of see past numbers as well. Starting off leg day with 3 sets of triceps, 3 sets of preacher curls. So starting off with arms and start with legs, so we'll dive into why we are doing that. Adductors, lying ham, hip extension, what are the hip extensions for the hinge pattern of the week. Leg extension, leg press, calves, and then we've added in an extra set of single leg extensions just on that left side, which we'll also dive into why I'm doing that. So I'm going to get stretching here, and I shall catch you at the tricep extension. 3 sets of triceps to kick off the leg session. I've been using this daily chain, actually, so it's actually 2 daily chains, which simply just allows me to get a full extension and the elbow and actually get a full contraction. Because what you commonly see is, what I was doing before was, I was using the easy bar, so a bar, and that just allowed, what it does is, it keeps me in a fixed position, and when I kind of reach the bottom, like my elbows will come forward and my shoulders are kind of start to round forward. So this, I can literally keep my elbows fixed in place, kind of that upper arm, think about tucking that into my lats, and just simply just getting all tricep out of it, and it's so much better. And also with the longer attachment, I can get a full extension and full range of motion or through tricep without my kind of shoulders taking over. So this is so much better. Feels on the money as well, feels good in my elbows as well, which is really good. So why am I starting off with arms at the start of my leg session now? For myself, that is simply what I need. A lot of people think when I post on TikTok, I didn't know I posted my pool session, like when I used to train pool, and I started off my pool sessions with tricep work, and people were like, it's a pool that you can't do push. Like, there's no rules towards how you program your split, how you program your sessions. There's literally no rules. You can do glutes, delts, and biceps in one session if you wanted to, if that's really what you need. When it comes to the layout of your split, what you need to look at is, first of all, what do you need? What is your weaker areas? What do you need to prioritize? For myself, that is arms and delts. So that's where a lot of my volume is, but also where I'm looking to have the highest quality. Obviously, that's pretty much with everything within my training, but especially, I'm looking at videoing my training, etc., really making sure that I'm training to the highest quality. When you place a movement at the start of your sessions, that's where you're going to be the freshest, and that's where you're going to be able to produce the most stimulus. As you build up fatigue throughout the session, the amount of stimulus you can put into the sets, get out of the sets, will diminish. So placing the weaker body parts at the start of the sessions makes more sense, where you can get the most out of them. So that's why we've got arms to start off this leg session, 3 sets of triceps here with this daisy chain attachment, and we move on to the bicep work. On to 3 sets of biceps, S tier bicep exercise. You're not going to find much better than this, due to the amount of stability you can have as well, especially through single arm, using your non-working hand to really brace against that pad. Realistically, the more stable you are in a movement, the more you're able to actually take that muscle to failure. And the stronger, the more output you're going to be able to have. Kind of cues, what to be thinking about during the preacher curl is keeping that pretty much your armpit tucked into that pad, really keeping that point of contact there. Upper arm stays fixed against the pad, really cueing to kind of push into it as you're curling up, and think about getting that pinky to that shoulder right there. Controlled negative, stopping right before that elbow kind of completely fully locks out, because if you completely fully lock out that elbow, there's going to be zero tension there, especially with the dumbbells, of course. And at that very top position as well, there's going to be pretty minimal tension there. So try and kind of spend a little bit less time in both of those ends in this movement. But really good exercise, and something to note as well, especially with the quote unquote isolation exercises here, they are just as important as your compound lifts, and you need to make sure that you're still going in with the intent to progress the logbook, and especially with your training, be fucking obsessed with progressing the logbook. Have that alone, and the amount of progress you'll make will be top tier. You obviously still need to make sure the quality of your execution is there, because realistically, if you're progressing the logbook, but your execution's off, the setup's off, quality of the stimulus you're actually delivering to the muscle is off, it doesn't really fucking matter, if you're progressing or not, because the stimulus isn't going to be there. So having that balance of training to a very high standard, being accurate, and then combine that with being so obsessed with going every single week, getting stronger, being that little bit better, your progress will absolutely skyrocket. So that's what you need to make sure as well. And even during your isolation lifts, absolutely every single set that you go into, you do during your workouts, aim and have the goal to progress that, i.e., even if that's not progressing numbers, load, even if it is just upping the quality, that in itself is a massive progression. So that is something to note as well. Arms done, now on to the leg portion of the leg session. So now we would move on to adductors, the exact same reason why we've got arms at the start. Adductors are a weaker area when it comes to my lower body development, so more priority, place them at the start of the session. That goddamn simple. Now, actually taking the stack for the first time today in a good while. I tweaked my adductor a while back, and it's now the last few weeks just kind of starting to feel 100% again, which is really good. So I've literally been adding £5 every week, matching reps, even getting an additional rep. I'm going to take the stack today. Someone is on it now. So I'm just going to warm up my hamstring curls. If they're off it by the time, I'll probably just jump on it there. If they're still on it, I'll just crack on with my next exercise, which is a line hamstring curl. So for the adductors, a good pause in both ends of the movement, really keeping that intent on the adductors. It's very easy to just slap on a load of weight on the adductors. A lot of people, especially adductor stacks, that are pretty light. A lot of people, gym pit, etc. Making sure that you're earning the right to be adding weight to adductor, or just any movement for that matter. Good pause in both ends, keeping intent there instead of obviously your kind of hips taking over rather than your adductors. So once again, keeping that intent there. So that's what we've got going down now. 2 sets of adductors to start off the leg portion of the set. Lying hamstring curl time. So set up execution here, kind of similar to the preach curl in a sense, where you don't really want to fully lock out your leg, lock out your knee, because when you get to that very bottom of the rep here, there's going to be, once again, no tension there. So just stopping before full walkout. Good pause in both ends, really cueing to actually contract, keep the tension on the hamstring. It's a very basic thing to say out loud, but actually make sure that, especially on isolation movements like the hamstring curl, you actually are spending a slight second. Like when I mean a slight second, I'm literally just cueing to almost just take the momentum out of both ends, range of the movements, which that small change in your training can really go a long way. So once again, I know it sounds very simple and basic, but actually cue to contract your hamstring. A lot of people will just literally move weight from A to D with no real intent, no kind of internal field connection. To kind of back up my point here, when people have a weaker muscle group, what you commonly find and commonly see is that they struggle to get that internal field and internal connection. And that in itself shows that there's obviously a connection between, how your muscle develops and the internal connection. When you can actually contract and feel that muscle, that obviously had an impact on the progression you make and the development of that muscle group. So actually just spend the time on movements like this in that shortened range. Once again, even a split second can go a long way. Obviously when you're doing like a leg press or a squat, you're not going to be cueing or thinking about contracting your quads in a sense. I would just recommend that on kind of more isolation work. Really think about it and actually spend a second in that shortened range. It will go a long way in your training. 1 out of 2 main movements for a session. Going down, as JP would say, the balls are tingling. Hinge day. Hinge part of the week, this used to be the RDL when I was in prep, but I kind of hinged my hamstrings a little bit. So it just feels a little bit better, a little bit safer. But the plan was to just kind of run this up because it's a little bit safer, a little bit more stable, etc. Until my hamstrings were 100%, but honestly, I'm really fucking enjoying this. I'm just going to run this up and simply just get strong in this. Especially in your hinge movements, get fucking strong on the hinge part. It is that goddamn simple. Do not overthink it, etc. This is one of those movements, big fucking compound lift, where yes, I'm still being accurate, yes, I'm still being intentful, yes, I'm still thinking about Q, etc. But more importantly, I'm getting aggressive. I'm taking it to that kind of, extra fucking place that you take it. You know, I'm putting on the JP audios, I'm getting fucking aggressive, and I'm getting after it. It is that goddamn simple. Like there's nothing that is going to compare to your hinge pattern and getting strong, and then how that will reflect on the density, how your posterior looks like. Once again, there's absolutely nothing else that compares to it. So 2 sets per week here, 2 sets here, but you know, one pattern for the week, one hinge pattern for the week. Cannot fucking miss. It's that goddamn simple. As a wise man once said, Big JP. So took 85 kilos for 8 reps last week. Finley just did his set, I'm pretty sure. Finley, what did you think?
91.25 for 6.777.
Oh, I think I'll take 90 today. So 5 kilo increase, see what I get. I think I'll go for today. So 90 fucking kilos, no missing.
It's just about going in and just going through the motions. Every single set is like a chance to create a personal victory. I go deep into stuff that's probably not even healthy to start thinking about. Things that you really don't want to dig up in those moments.
You've got to want it as bad as you want to breathe. And if you want it that bad, if you're willing to give it that much, you get a big piece of what you want. In life, dreams do come true. Anything you want can happen, become a reality.
Okay.
I believe that sincerely, and I'll die on that thought.
I always felt like I was different, like I didn't really fit in. Some people have got something inside them. It's like burning something inside that you've got to do. You feel different, like you don't fit in. At least I did. This is my passion. This is what I love doing. And if I don't do this, what am I going to do? Curl up and die? I remember there was a big snowstorm. There was no cars on the road. There was no cars, there was no buses, there was no transport. I trudged through that snow up past my knees to the gym. It took me about an hour and a half to get to the gym. And I thought to myself, you know what? Those fuckers in California right now, they're driving their Porsche, their Ferrari out in the sun, going to the beach. I'm here trudging through the snow, and they're going to pay for it.
Take that, mate, take that.
There is only scenarios created through an individual's behaviour.
Right, very good set. 5 kilo increase and only done a rep. Big fucking progression. Set felt really solid. Really enjoying this piece as I mentioned. Setup I've got down to an absolute T. This is, you know, a little bit more bias in the glutes and hamstrings here. What I'm going to think about is, I'm really thinking about driving my heels into that pad there and almost kind of doing a hamstring curl up when I get to the top. Big contraction in the glutes as well. Still, erector still feel fried after it. Definitely not as much compared to an RDL, but I'm still getting a good amount of erectors out of this. The sole goal is a little bit more glute once again, like especially if, you know, if you look at my physique when I stepped on stage, my glutes just were not able to get that all the way in pretty much compared to other body parts, and that was simply because of my glutes are not as developed as my other body parts. So I simply need a lot of priority on my glute development throughout this off season. So when I next step on stage, I'm able to get my glutes all the way in. So that's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what this pretty much the primary goal of this session, the priority of this session is that as well. And obviously, when we jump into the leg press as well, I'm going to give actually first time doing the glute builder leg press, which we'll jump into, but that'll be a little bit more glute bias once again. So a lot of glute priority in this session, but saving the back off here, up 5 kilos, and our goal is to max reps. Realistically, probably aiming for that kind of 9 rep range, which would be a rep down. But once again, on your hinge movements, just fucking get strong. Almost just force yourself to get strong, get aggressive, get after it. It is that goddamn simple. Leg extensions next. Now onto the quad work. Common issues that I see when new clients come on board, you know, when they do have a lot of knee issues present, 99.9% of the reason is down to your setup and execution. If something feels off, if your joints feel off, etc., it's probably down to the setup being off and therefore your execution being off as well. So choose to not aggravate and put unwanted tension on your knee for a leg extension. So first of all, the setup. The setup of how you set up the machine, set up your body position, etc. If that is off, you actually will not be able to execute the movement properly. So what I want to think about is kind of think about almost like internally rotating your knee. So think about get your knees to face the roof. How your knee joint works is, it works in one motion, simply up and down. If you have your knees out tilted to the side here, and then you go to the leg extension, they're going to be moving side to side, which is not how the knee functions. Therefore, it's going to put a lot of unwanted tension, as I kind of mentioned there, on the knees. So that's the first one. What you want to do is get your knees to face the roof, almost a bit internally rotating, and get thinking about bashing your adductors together. Then from there, full dorsiflexion, so point your toes to the roof. Then making sure you're as stable as possible. So what I like to use on this leg extension, as you can see, is the seat belt, the straps, pulling myself down as much as possible. Another thing as well is line your knee with the axis of rotation. So as you can see here, it is that little circle thing, you can't really see it there, but it's a little circle thing on the leg extension. Pretty much your knees should be in line with that. And that is the basics to make sure you don't destroy your knees. Obviously, simple tips with not using loads that are too heavy, etc. Being controlled negatives, pausing both ends, etc. Slightly higher reps if need be as well, is how to get the most out of your leg extension. But I absolutely love this prime leg extension, especially with obviously being able to load it in that length and range. It really fucking tests you. If your brace is slightly off, etc., you're not getting that last rep or those last 2 reps. Because it is loaded in that length and range, the last couple of reps are going to be fucking brutal, which is exactly what we want. So once again, the goal is simple: get fucking strong, beat what I did last week. +1, both sets on leg extension. Big fucking bosh. There's no better feeling. You know, this stage of the leg session, where I've got, you know, 1, 2 exercises left. Pretty fucking battered, but this is when it counts. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially right now, I'm feeling a little bit more battered, just because a slight bit of illness, but still taking it all the way there, still progressing absolutely every single set. The logbook does not fucking care how you feel at times. Any times, you just need to get fucking after it. Is that goddamn simple? And you know, a common theme with what I've been talking about during this session is, you know, as much as I'm all for the intricacies of training, nothing beats just getting fucking strong, getting after it. That's unfortunately what you see missing from most people's training. So yeah, on to the leg press now. As discussed, this leg press previously was a side bench leg press. I'm actually going to take these plates off like that, but yeah, this was, you're going to follow me? I think it is. Yeah, this leg press was previously the side bench leg press, but Josh wants it to be a little bit more glute based, so I was doing the Atlantis single leg press. If the camera's still tracking me, that's the machine I'm next to right now. But lower back, glutes, hips just felt off on it, to be honest. So moving to the bodybuilder leg press, I'll give that a go now. First time using it, never hopped on it, so we'll see how that goes. But just when it goes for trialing new bits of kit we're using for, or new exercises, just take your time in the warm-ups. Like, use the warm-ups are used to make sure that the setup execution is nailed down when you go into that set. So just, I'm going to film this warm-ups as well, just kind of see how it looks, how it feels, etc. Just take my time, a couple more warm-ups than usual, and then we'll get into it. First go at the Glutes builder leg press. Felt very, what's the word, just alien new, so it will take some time to get used to, but honestly felt very decent. Once again, glutes are absolutely fine after it, which is exactly the goal, so done its job. Still get a good bit of knee flexion, still a good bit of quad at this. Once again, we'll just take kind of a few weeks, maybe some adjusting as well, get used to this and get this on lock, but really fucking good session. Apart from this, obviously, this is the first time doing this, absolutely everything else progressed, which is exactly the goal. So job done. Another step forward, as you say, little wins, just stack up, so that's exactly what we're doing. So just after this, got 2 sets toe press, so kind of calf raise on the leg press, and then I'll do, as I kind of said earlier, 1 set just for my left leg on the leg extension, just because I have a slight imbalance, especially towards the back end of prep. My left leg did wither away a little bit more, so just adding literally an extra set each leg day for some extra volume on that left side to help bring that imbalance up over time. And that is us, and that is the lower session. Thank you very much for watching. I've got a post-workout meal, which will pop up now, which is just the usual rice, beef, veg, pineapple, same meals, same time. That is the secret. You're all looking after the art consistency. But not going to get any post-workout shots today, post-legs. We'll run through an update on next video on how we're looking, etc. Because the gym's packed and it's been a long fucking session, I need to eat, to be honest. So yeah, that is all. Leg day, week 7 post-show. The off-season begins and it is time to grow some fucking muscle. And I'm going to take you through every single part of the process on how to do that and educate you along through the way. So make sure to follow along, subscribe, share your stories, and all that jazz. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.